music for a bit. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Let's Talk Battlefield. This is episode 26. Battlefield 2018 is what we're calling it. And without further ado, let's introduce ourselves. With me today, I have my boy Flak.
Hey everyone, it's Flakfire. You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/Flakfire Gaming. Also on Twitch on occasion, twitch.tv Flakfire.
Awesome. And I also have with me Mambo B.
Welcome, gamers. Happy Sunday. Episode 26, the Battlefield Let's Talk podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Mambo B. You can catch me on Twitch.
Great. And I'm your host, Echo Limits, EKOLIMITS. I'm a twitch.tv streamer and a huge fan of Battlefield. All right, so as the podcast works, normally I give you guys the topics of what we're going to be discussing today. And then we're going to get into listener email and listener question, because yes, this podcast is recorded live in front of a live audience, I'm guessing, right? And
they're all bots.
Yeah, they're all bots.
They're all those
right?
new Battlefield bots, just running in circles.
Goes good with our aim bots.
That is funny, because I saw an article on this. It's not a conversation we're gonna have because I didn't plan for it, but that was an interesting AI topic, right?
It was. Not sure how that's gonna work.
I don't know.
Right.
Okay, so the topics we have for you guys today is first one's by me. What do you think would make Battlefield 2018 a success? The next topic on this podcast today is going to be what are some of the ways the next Battlefield could be more streamer friendly? I wonder who asked this question. And the last topic of this podcast is going to be the future of DLC, because we suspect maybe DICE might want to do things differently this time. Okay, let's see. Did I cover the bases? Yes. Introductions, awesome. So I think we're ready to just jump into the conversation. Now, I guess before we get into all of that, if you're watching on YouTube, welcome, because this is a live podcast recorded on Twitch. However, it is posted to both YouTube, Flakfire's channel, and it is posted on iTunes. So there's a strong chance you're listening to this and it's not live. If you like the podcast, make sure you hit that like button. Comment away, because we do read all the comments on YouTube. And if you're watching on iTunes, giving us that rating would be pretty darn awesome. Of course, if you're going to want to get into this conversation, you have an opinion that you want to be heard. The coolest part about this podcast, it is a community-driven effort. So not only the people live, if you're watching the video feed of it, you can see everyone's comments. You can actually get your comments read. The email is called the Let's Talk Podcast @gmail.com. And we do have someone who wrote in this week, which is pretty cool. But I like to remind people at the beginning of the podcast that you can get involved even if you're listening to a recording. So, awesome. First topic of the day. And that's a topic I chose to bring to the table, because Battlefield 1 is kind of winding down, gentlemen. All right, and I wanted to get your opinion on what do you think?
I couldn't tell by how many hours you put in.
I would like to get your opinion, fellas, and the people watching live from home. What do you guys think would make Battlefield 2018 a success?
What will make Battlefield 2018 great again?
Great again, yeah.
Yeah, right.
We need hats.
What do you got, Flak Daddy? Talk to us.
I would say, I think right now with the sentiment that everybody has, I think something that's going to make Battlefield 2018 maintain and even take the hype to a new level is that setting. Like, it's got to be in a particular place in a particular time, and for me, and I think for the bulk of the people who are fans of the Battlefield franchise, it's got to be historical. That's something for me that, if you want it to do well, if you want it to be a success, it's got to be historically oriented. I know a lot of people really want that sequel to 2143, You know, that game has a cult following. It's the one Battlefield I've never played, so I don't
I
understand.
haven't played it either. Mambo, have you played 2142?
No. I hear that a live streamer, Darkness429, that's his favorite Battlefield, but I never got into it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's just something, you know, a lot of people want a sequel to, you know, Battlefield 4 as well. But for me, I think right now the direction that everything's kind of heading is that you know, Battlefields stay historical. So hopefully it will be. And if it does stay historical, it's got to go somewhere we haven't been before. So there's lots of rumors about it being World War II, right? If it is World War II, it's got to go someplace we haven't been. Like, it sounds stupid to say, but for me, it's like, I don't want to go to Normandy. Like, I've been there in like 5 or 6 other different games. It's a been there, done that kind of situation.
You know, I know you've been there.
It just won't have that impact.
Like, I know you've been there, but think about all the Battlefield fans and people who just growing up picking up
And that's a
Battlefield
good point.
and haven't even played a World War II game.
That's a good point, but you also got to look at what Call of Duty did. If it is a World War II thing, it's like Call of Duty went back to Normandy.
Yeah, they did the same thing, basically.
Did they even storm the beaches at Normandy in that game?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And it was rather interesting because they totally mirrored, like, I forget if it was a previous Call of Duty game or if it was Medal of Honor, but like to a T, they definitely threw it back a little bit to a previous game. But it was still one of those things, like, been there, done that. And now, you know, you're talking about that younger generation, like, they've now been there, you know.
Yeah.
Call of Duty
I
World War
see
II
an
came out
interesting
recently.
thing about the setting, Flak, but I see a General Omega in the comments, like, talking about, we got Titanfall, you got Star Wars Battlefront, you got upcoming Anthem, everything's futuristic. So
Yeah.
it kind of would fit more to stick to either modern or, you know, World War II setting for this Battlefield, if anything. But I'm more concerned, more so than the actual setting, I'm more concerned to hear from you guys about what features do you think Battlefield 2018 should have included.
Okay, so not necessarily.
I mean, the setting could be debatable because some people will be like, "Yo, I like a modern setting." Some people will be like, "Oh, I like a return to that World War II." But I feel like what's essential, even if the setting isn't something you primarily will enjoy, I think people will pick it up. There are Battlefield fans who are like, "I like modern, but I still picked up Battlefield 1," and then they eventually put it down because maybe different reasons. But if the core gameplay, if the core features are there, I think the setting is not that important. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think?
I'll say 2 things on that very quickly because I already talked about it. I will say the ability to really take command of your weapons, you know, and do attachments and other things, make them feel distinct, make them feel your own. That's got to be there. And then I really hope guys learn their lesson with private servers. And understanding, like, that side of things, rental server program.
Yeah, we had Joe Mike commenting in the chat saying that the rental server program is been lacking.
And you know, they're talking about, you know, oh, we want to build communities around this game, right? Support the rental server program. Like, people will build communities if the tools are there. Just give them the tools. So those are the 2 big things for me.
Okay. Mambo, a little bit from you. What features do you think will make Battlefield 2018 a success to you?
Right. Well, I think incorporating a platoon versus platoon quick match option and an incorporated leaderboard into the game would make the game a little bit more what we would see in a more competitive environment, instead of trying to branch off with incursions and doing a separate battlefield or whatever they're trying to do with that. Your game is already, your players are already competitive. Just put the tools in the game menu and it will work. You don't need to go.
It would be nice to have a Platoon's non-beta in the game from the start. Yeah,
right.
I see that.
You know,
would be a cool thing.
Ranked leaderboard, you got to play platoons versus platoons, something like that. I think that would actually push, and you don't got to fly streamers and YouTubers all over the country to get their feedback on what the game needs to do to be competitive. You already have the game. Just put the leaderboards and the matchmaking in there. And I'm with Flak as far as attachments, customization, your character, your weapons, I mean, they did it with Hardline. You could spray your emblem on the wall. Jeez, come on, give us something.
that was kind of cool. I
Yeah,
mean, if
like-
they decide to do even a World War II one, now that goes back to setting wise, does that make sense in a setting? But I think, a little spray paint, little customization thing, that's not that bad.
Did they
Especially if you have
include-
a Platoon logo, like people
Right?
love
Did they
the
include
ducks.
the flag to have your Platoon emblem on Battlefield 1? Did they include that?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
capture a
you do.
flag
If
in
you
Conquest.
capture a flag as a platoon, there's a little bitty flag, tiny little
Yeah, little
detail
pennant.
that says you did it.
No, we need it bigger. We need
Yeah.
it bigger.
It would be real cool. It would be real cool.
Yeah, kind of make it a front and center kind of thing. Like you want
Yeah,
a
like,
big
no,
one
no,
to be
this is
there and be
ours,
proud
man.
of that.
Right.
So like I really wanna discuss this with you guys in the chat watching live, because I really think with Battlefield 2018 moving into a whole new thing, it's about time that we as a community give them ideas where the gaming industry is moving. Like what ends up happening is when you have a big company such as EA, for instance, things kind of move slowly, and you kind of want to progress, because if you don't progress, your competition will progress, and then you'll get left behind. So one of my things was, when thinking about this, I sat here and I was like, what would make Battlefield a success? And to me, what's important in 2018, if you're making a video game right now, maybe you're a developer watching, frequent updates. The whole notion of I will throw a DLC out here and there, and that's my bulk of updates, that's gone. You look at what are successful shooters in 2017? You have Fortnite, frequent updates. You have something like maybe Rainbow Six is successful in its own right, but I really contribute that to the fact that they do free-to-play weekends. You know what I mean? Getting these kind of things into your game, that's going to cause so much success for you. Now,
yeah, and that's something there that I think you really hit on, and I'm going to talk about it during my topic, so I don't want to go into it too much. But it's like you look at the way Fortnite does content and the release schedule. It's small things and it's frequent.
Yep.
And they're really inconsequential things a lot of the time. It's like, oh, we added a vending machine. Oh, we added this. Oh, we added that. Like, it didn't take a lot of work, really, comparatively to regular full-size DLC packages to put that out. Yet you've got conversation about hype, about that thing coming out.
A lot of
You've
Easter
got
eggs.
so much on it. So it's like it's building the community on its own. You've got a much greater presence in the community as a developer. If you're constantly updating this game, people feel like, they care. Look at how often they update this game. They're in touch with their player base. Look how often they update this game. Like,
so I want to touch upon
no
that.
brainer.
Yeah, and the other thing I thought, I kind of went down a list of things that, just popping into my mind. The other thing I thought about, like, yeah, frequent updates is nice. Like, every week there should be something new. But the second thing I really listed on my list there was, as you mentioned, the small updates, but, knowing exactly what's coming next is a nice thing. Having an actual roadmap and having that communicated to your player base in an effective way go a long way. That's not to be confused with telling them everything, because I feel like in this age, an issue happens where when you invite, like you said, you don't have to invite YouTubers and streamers all the time, but what ends up happening is, like, you lift the floodgates and everything gets told to the player base, and there's no excitement anymore when the launch day comes about. Save
and
some
that's a
secrets,
big problem for us is I think is particularly is YouTube people, but as streamers as well. It's like, I love the CTE, but it's like so much content was really driving well when people didn't know.
Yep.
And it's like, it's fun to speculate about things. It's fun to say, oh, this could be this, or look at this. What is this going to do to the meta of the game, and have those discussions. And that's valuable in its own way, just like the CTE, where you can gauge players' reactions to things you're planning to do. Like, it's valuable to developers. But yeah, that's something I'd like to see more of, is like, keep that that hype and surprise and things. Like
Yeah.
Battlefield really didn't do that.
Yeah, there's a very little left to surprise, very little left to deliberate over after everything was basically spoiled in CTE. And I'd hope that in 2018's Battlefield 2018, they would move and use CTE in a different way. More so like, okay, something launched and then we're going to try to fix it in here with people who want to help us. And maybe those people have some sort of incentives to do that. Incentives, I'm sorry. So that was one of those other things, all right? I honestly really firmly believe in offering free-to-play weekends. I would be an aggressive strategy, and it wouldn't be that bad for them. Like, why would it be a bad issue to have like every so often a weekend where Battlefield's free-to-play, bro? Yeah, it's still, I don't see this game going free-to-play, like completely. No way. You know, it's still gonna be a $60 title. That's how they're gonna make their money. But it's important to let it be accessible. Let people try it out. Better than that 10-hour Origin tryout thing. I'm not sure how that works out for consoles at all. I think there isn't any trials for consoles, especially on PS4. Maybe on Xbox because they have EA access on Xbox, right?
Yes, they do.
Can
The only
they do
platform that
10-hour
doesn't
trial?
have it is PlayStation.
Yeah.
PlayStation is the only one that doesn't
Well,
have it. So you have EA access on Xbox and Origin access on PC.
And Nintendo Switch, because you never know. Maybe BF 2018 is coming out on that Switch, you know?
Hey, maybe.
All right. The other thing I kind of thought about is I'm really big on this as a live streamer, a social space. I would love to see a social space in Battlefield. I don't know what that would entail 100%, but it would be cool to, before you queue up into a server, maybe instead of going server browsing, you go to your social space to server browse and stuff like that. You know, at least you can meet up with people, trade skins, check out each other's skins, and do some fun stuff together. Maybe play a little mini map here and there if you want to run as a squad, shooting, I don't know, birds as they fly around, whatever, duck hunt style. Like, it could be fun. All right. And lastly, I know this is something you're gonna touch upon, Flak, so I'm not gonna go too much into detail. Is the whole premium, you know? I feel like that's a discussion we'll move on to, but I feel like the success of Battlefield 2018 will hinge on how they create that as a model. If they continue it the way it is, I don't know if that would lead to success, and not in 2008, you know? In 2008, maybe. In 2018, I don't know. That just is a huge paywall, and I think it's more about making your game accessible rather than doing these things. Guys, just like some closing thoughts and ideas. Just if DICE is listening to this podcast, simply put, like from all the things that are have been discussed or just thrown out there, what would you say is that one thing that, like, you do this, your game is gonna succeed?
Looking at the chat here, Drakeston is talking about customization. Like, literally, that's it. In this day and age, the recipe to have your game succeed is just let people take ownership of it. You know, customization. Like, it's a huge factor for me that, like, when I play a game, I take some ownership of it, of my character, of what's happening there, you know, of my gun, what it looks like, what its personality is, you know, what the character's personality is. You know, you want an avenue to express yourself, and customization enables that. And
me,
it's been shown time and time again that drives engagement and sales.
Right. I think for me, it's more the updates. We spoke about it back in like podcast 5. I said updates needs to be every 2 weeks, whether it's new guns in 2 weeks, new maps in 2 weeks, new guns in 2 weeks, new maps in 2 weeks. Every other week, new content, guns, map, gun, map, gun, map, done.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all you gotta do.
I would even say every week there needs to be something new. And I like booting up and seeing the new battle packs. Like, oh, cool, what are the battle packs for this week? You know, but it has to be like more than just that.
System, but yeah, some
the
kind of
battle pack system needs some readjustments for sure.
Yeah,
I just think they should post it on a board, like on your graphical. You know, your UI just needs to show what you can get with your war bonds that we didn't use. Right?
Yeah, I didn't mention this, but I kind of want to still throw this out there. Because the other shooter that came into my mind as like a successful shooter in 2017 still is something like Overwatch. And just recently, like, Overwatch has their Pro League and is doing real good. successful on Twitch and everything else, people watching, people enjoying it. Like, Battlefield 2018 is about to come out. Can we say that would it lead to success if they came out the gate with a league of some sort, or some major efforts on their part to organize that into it? Do you think that's an important thing to have in a game like Battlefield?
I think they're going to have a lot of that with whatever Incursions turns into. And I think, and this is my opinion, like, I do like Incursions, but competitive stuff has never really appealed to me that much. Like, I play this to have fun. I don't get sweaty about it. And, you know, I don't really care about bragging rights unless we're talking like the most bayonet charges in the podcast. Like, that's something
you really
that
care
certainly,
about that.
No, I don't. That's something that will appeal to a small segment of the player base, I think. But for a lot of people, you know, they play Battlefield like I do, where it's like, oh, I got an hour, it's a Thursday night, I'm gonna go play. You know, and that's the level of planning they put into their gaming.
All right, interesting. I just wondered, like, how heavily does you know, the whole competitive drive that, like, success? Like, maybe Battlefield isn't that competitive, but there's a lot of competitive leagues and people involved in trying to make something out of their love for being competitive in Battlefield. Interesting. I want to throw that out there. But awesome. Let's now pivot over to our next topic for this podcast. Mambo, what did you want to hit us with?
Yeah, well, you guys know that I'm a live streamer, and I like to think of what Battlefield can do for the live streamers. I mean, the content creators are the ones that support the game, that make the game have more hype, more popularity. And we see that now with, we've seen that with a lot of games, that the developers are using the content creators to help promote their game.
Oh, it's crazy.
So I think as a Battlefield streamer, predominantly, DICE needs to do some things that could, on the back end, that could support the people that support them. Help me, help you. Mm-hmm. And a few weeks ago, a popular live streamer that doesn't stream Battlefield too often experienced some of the pains that us everyday Battlefield streamers experience, and that's called stream sniping. The name, I'll throw it out there, he's a popular live streamer. His name's Dr. Disrespect. He jumped on Battlefield.
It was Battlefield 4, though. Yeah.
He had so many stream snipers.
It was ridiculous. I watched that.
He couldn't move. So DICE could really easily do a few things to help implement content creators to be live, not just the YouTubers, but also the live streamers. So what are your guys' feedback on what are some of the things that could be implemented to help content creators promote the next Battlefield?
The thing that I like, and this is as much promoting the streamer or YouTuber as it is, you know, promoting the game. One thing, and again, we're going to look at Fortnite here, having things like, you know, special in-game things related to that person. Like, we've actually seen it a little bit in relation
having the
to
videos inside the UI with some of the stuff. Like, I've seen some informational videos even from you, Flak, and that was like, oh my god, I know this guy. He's got a video that tells you how to play Battlefield in Battlefield. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's partially what I'm talking about, but I'm also talking about things like, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a special, like, Jack Fragg's Battle Pack revision. And there was a special Westy Battle Pack revision, and everybody was asking me, when is yours? I want bayonet pieces, you know, or sawtooth bayonet pieces. But like, that was a cool thing. Like, that was neat. You know, that gives the streamer a reason to talk about the game or keep playing it, or be like, hey, did you get on to go get my Battle Pack revision on the game, right? And Fortnite's been doing that. I think Ninja has his own stuff, doesn't he? Like, he's huge, so he's got his own fancy skins and whatever. But like, that would be really cool. Like, if they were to do that, if they do a lot of customization stuff, or even if they don't, even if they just do battle packs, like, it would be really neat, because you've got, you know, the average player who gets on the game and be like, well, Mambo B Battle Pack. What is this? Who's Mambo B? You know, and they're going to go look it up. Meanwhile, you're going to be on the stream talking about, hey, did you go get the Battle Pack? You know, it got gifted to everybody this week. That's my gift, you know, from me to you. Like, and that creates a personal kind of endorsement for the game, and you know, more of a connection with.
But
with
more
players.
importantly, it's like
That's a
something
cool
that's
thing.
fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it's fun, it's personal, it's something that could be updated very often, which Mambo is talking about. Like, you want to have things to talk about. You want to put more stuff in your game so people have conversations about it. Even if it's small things like Battle Pack revisions. Like, that was still pretty cool when that came out. I was like, oh, that's neat. Did you guys see this? You know, Westy's got his own Battle Pack, or Jack Rex has his own Battle Pack. Like, that was cool. And part of me was like, oh, I want one.
Right.
You know, but it's like, that's also kind of encouraging to creators and streamers as well. You know, they can look at it and be like, maybe someday I'll be able to get to that point. That'll encourage them to try and build relationships with Battlefield, with community managers. Like, there's a ton of great stuff that can happen from that.
We have an interesting comment by Dangerman. It says Battlefield's the biggest problem right now is player retention, right? In a nutshell. And this is one of those things is in 2018, and that's a great thing that, you know, Mambo, you bring up this topic, is because the content creators, you look at the successful games right now out, like the biggest success right now, the runaway train, is Fortnite. But that is completely driven by content creators. That game was absolutely nothing until it got picked up by content creators and pushed so heavily by them into the mega game that it is right now. So one of those things is making sure that your game is friendly to these content creators, or getting them involved in some sort of way is very important. And I hope that DICE and EA are taking notice of this phenomenon. Now, the thing that you brought up, Mambo, I've watched Dr. Disrespect stream that stream, because I love Battlefield 4, and, you know, Dr. Disrespect's huge on Twitch, you know, 30,000 people all the time watching him. You could just imagine how many people go in and out that day. Must be like good 200 simply, you know? So just watching how heavily he got stream sniped by cheesy stuff like the UCAV, and hopping in a helicopter and just hunting him down, these vehicle hunters, you know what I mean? Like, things that are just, you know, yeah, it's fun for that one guy who's hunting you down and looking at your reaction because you're streaming, but it is totally not fun for the guy who is playing the game. You know, it simply does not become fun. So I really think that DICE needs to look back at the gadgets they create, the weapons that they create in these games, and ask themselves, how is this going to affect somebody who is not just your average user? You know, you're that streamer, and like having a remote controlled flying airplane that blows you up across the map, you know that's gonna lead into some really bad situations. I personally have gotten stream sniped with that crap as well. It was Battlefield 4. Now I gotta say, they have made improvements. Battlefield 1 doesn't really have that cheese in there, but I have gotten those people who hop in a plane and they strafe me, and they always seem to know where I am, you know? That's an issue because of vehicle imbalance is still a key in Battlefield. And I think that the average Battlefield player is not a vehicle user so much so. You know, I think there's a few of the hardcore old school Battlefield people who always jump in a plane, wait in that respawn, jump in it again. Oh wait, a tank is available, now go tanking. You know what I mean? But they do that stuff because it's so easy to use them and abuse them and just get a ton of kill streaks. They need to go back and look at the balance of these vehicles and how they affect, you know, content creators who are streaming, for instance. That might not be an issue on YouTube, you know what I mean? Unless you're, you know, streaming on YouTube, which is a separate thing. But you raised that question, Mambo, and I had some other ideas. I was thinking about, like, okay, they definitely need to answer stream snipers. And those of you guys remember, Battlefield 1 launched with a big mode called Operations, and I fell in love with it. But one of the big reasons I also fell in love with it is I simply could not get stream sniped. It was not in the server browser, and that was just an added bonus. It was just like a plus. I'm like, cool. I went from Battlefield 4 getting stream sniped, and you know what? I mean, those people try stream sniping me, but when they get spanked, they realize they can't. They're like, oh dang, Echo is good, you know? But nonetheless, I didn't get bothered by these people. You were on my friends list, you could play with me. Otherwise, you take the luck of the draw, and that's one of the reasons. For instance, a game like Fortnite is so popular because you can't stream snipe somebody in there. You just kind of queue up and hope you get queued up at the same time. It's really hard because, you know, you have a lot of players queuing up at the same time. You're not going to get in that server very successfully, you know?
No, it's interesting in the chat here. Milky the Pale one had an idea where he said, you know, give players in the game generic names like, you know, player number one. Like, that would kind of be interesting. I don't know how feasible that is.
Oh, it's simple. It's
do
just
it in Fortnite.
they did it in
right now.
Fortnite. Yeah.
They call it streamer mode.
Yeah.
And basically in streamer mode, you turn it on in your options and it puts your name, and the person, if they happen to kill you, also gets displayed as player.
It's just a simple display change of your name. So rather than
Like,
seeing, like, if we're in a
that
squad,
would-
it'll say Echo, Mambo, and Flak. It'll just say Echo, player.
Yeah, that would be like a good addition. I think.
And it
you know,
seems like a very
having that
low
option.
effort addition. Not bad. But the things I'm thinking about is you need to make sure there's either a game mode like operations, and you have to have that communicated to the streamers, you know, like have some sort of, I mean, like maybe Dr. Disrespect had no idea about Battlefield, and that's why he wasn't even doing good, and he was getting stream sniped. But having an operation game mode where there is no server browser that you can get in could be a plus. Or if not, have some sort of way, like, okay, put operations in a server browser, but create a way where someone could join a server, and if they choose not to be discoverable, that they shouldn't be discoverable, you know? Now, I don't know the intricacies of that, but it's important to know, like, if DICE creates the next Battlefield 2018, it's important to know that there is a way to stay hidden in a way. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, the only reason I bring this up is because, you know, I've been notoriously stream sniped constantly, but Echo, you are going to EA Play. Flak, you're sort of part of the Game Changers program. So I was hoping you guys could use your influence as, you know, content creators to say, hey, yes, this is an issue. We need to focus on it to help us help you. I know there's a website that tries to display stats and leaderboards, and because DICE is not incorporating it into their game, and it's called BF1 Stats. And one of the things that that website does is it puts the server that everybody's playing listed publicly. So this is where the stream snipers go to find out, oh, I want to stream snipe Flakfire. Let me go find out what server he's in. Let me go to bf1stats.com. Bam, there it is. I'm going in there. I got you. I'm going to spam and cheese the plane and drop bombs on you all day. They need to contact that website and say, cease and desist. We are now...
Or simply not publicize that key information. Or that website just
so
simply
important.
tags into the APIs of whatever is publicized by EA. Just keep that stuff confidential. That'll help streamers.
Right. This is so important that when you go to EA Play Echo, that you talk to Dan Mitri or somebody, say, listen, this is a major issue. We need to stop publicizing the servers that live content creators are on.
I don't know how much influence we really have here. You know, this is
You're the #1 streamer of Battlefield, Echo. Go to him.
Just walk up to Dan and be like, yo, Dan.
Hey, listen, man, I'm a big deal, all right? No. I don't know. You know, that's hard to say, but I really like to think that this podcast reaches many people, and these ideas can be echoed, if not by us, by the communities themselves. Because there's something to say that as long as a game is friendly to the content creators, it has a potential to grow. That's the thing about 2018 is like, oh snap, this is a whole new way of games kind of just working out. You know what? But I was sitting there and thinking a little bit more, Mambo. You know, just like what if say like you look at other successful games that have, you know, growing communities and things like that. There's efforts by these video game creators to just take the I guess the games and host like public events that are like, oh look, check it out, we've invited Ali A come down and play at PAX East, I don't know, Fortnite and all this other stuff. Like, they're doing these things. Like, what do you guys think? Like, inviting streamers, YouTubers, and then like making sure that it is fun for actual people. Like, because if you just invite streamers and YouTubers and say, oh, streamers, YouTubers all versus each other in a server, it's cool, right? But imagine if they did half and half or something, and then filled the other part with actual random people. Like, bro, a giveaway sweepstake. One of the most incredible things that's ever happened to me in my life was literally I won a Twitter giveaway to go play Battlefield 1 at the beginning. And I was just like anybody else watching this stream. I mean, yeah, I streamed Battlefield, but it was like, okay, I stream a little bit, you know? But it was incredible as just a gamer for me to go. Like, imagine at the chance that people would jump and be like, oh, I'll apply for this sweepstakes, and maybe I'll play with Jack Frags in a LAN match in like PAX East. Like, wouldn't that be cool, you know? Getting streamers involved in that way too, and YouTubers involved in that way, would be really cool.
Yeah, I agree. That'd be pretty cool. Getting live content creators connected with the community and hosting it for your own game in different regions.
At the same point, though, do we really want to give up the ability to like bayonet charge Snoop Dogg, some kind of event?
Oh yeah, I mean that was pretty big that they had celebrities. But here's the thing, okay? My thing is you have to run some sort of events. You know, you gotta keep your game out
Not
there.
Not just at launch.
So
correct.
Exactly. So you launch your game, and then you have some sort of events surrounding it, promoting it, and just, you know, making it fun. If that doesn't mean like esports stuff, because sometimes games just simply focus on that. If Battlefield doesn't focus on the esports, then focus on the content creators and like community people playing together. You know, that'd be really cool to see. Like at the next PAX or the next PlayStation experience or the next does Xbox do its thing? I don't know if Xbox has it. Well, you know what I'm talking about. Next E3, next EA Play. You know, just having these cool events featured, especially at places like PAX, because PAX is the place for, you have so many different PAXs, first of all, and they're the place for the gamer, not so much for the content creators. You know what I mean? It's a cool place to go, you as a gamer, check out new games and meet developers and just enjoy gaming, like what's coming next. You get a sneak peek. There's a lot of hype that you can build into and involve streamers and YouTubers and make that a whole better relationship overall and promote the game in a way.
Okay.
I don't know if you wanted
you guys got any final thoughts on what else could DICE do to help out content creators?
And you know, if I do get to talk to Dan and talk about stream sniping and stuff, there's one other thing that I want to talk about, and that's more robust support for spectator mode. That's something that I would really like to see. Like, I love spectator mode. I use it all the time.
Oh, I bet for YouTube videos and stuff, right?
Yeah, and it's wonderful. At the same point, like, there are some things where I'm like, I wish I had the ability to do this. You know, like I want to recreate the kind of camera angles and the scenes and things that I've seen in, you know, like big war films, right? You know, where they've got like, or like action movies where they've got the camera mounted on the side of the car. Like, I want to have that in the spectator mode where you can bind it to the side of the car and you get that same look.
Camera binding.
You can sort of do it now in some ways.
You have to like follow, but fluidly. You know what I mean? It's not gonna happen.
It's so difficult to do, and it's like I love that look. That's just so.
You like it more first person or third person?
No, like imagine like a GoPro. Like if you can slap like a GoPro on top of someone's head.
That's first person view. Okay.
Or like to their shoulder or the shoulder of a car. Like get different angles, make it cinematic, make YouTube
or the look of the person, you know, running and the camera's looking directly at them, but it's down to their character.
Oh, okay.
You know,
and then you see what's behind them and stuff.
Yeah. That kind of look is just so cool, and it's so versatile. So that's something I'd really like to see.
Yeah, even allowing you to go from first to third on the same person moving, like you could see behind them and then zoom in what they're seeing, then back behind them again, then on them again.
Well, that's the thing. The flexibility in that would promote and help a lot of YouTubers make really nice YouTube videos.
Yeah, and Youngsblood 840 is like Howdy Wowdy's cinematic mod thing, and it's like, yeah, but I want to, you know, like officially in the game. I mean, because Howdy Wowdy's tools are super powerful, but they're not approachable for most people. Like,
and
that's why I love the
PC,
spectator
right?
mode.
Like you'd have a PC build, right?
Yeah, so that's something I would love to see. I'm so happy that they included it. with Battlefield 1, but it's like, it's there, you know, take it to another level.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Okay.
getting better. That's the cool part.
And, I mean, because there are people out there who want to make content, you know, that's cinematic, and that's free advertising for Battlefield.
You know when PUBG let you record rounds, remember that? And then I saw a bunch of videos on YouTube now trying to get more cinematic with how they present their, you know, PUBG plays. And that'd be cool too. Like, what if they just straight up recorded rounds and then let you pan around them however you like? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Call of Duty used to do that back in the day.
I don't know.
With Black Ops 1, they had a replay feature that you could go in and you could do all that.
Yeah, dude,
it was really good.
That would really help out at least the YouTube community. Now, before my closing
Final
thoughts,
thought.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mambo. As a streamer, what's important to me is that whole stream snipe thing. I hope that they take into consideration not to make any you know, cheese ball things like UCAVs and sending them over. And you know, it's probably sounded like a cool idea, you know, and in 2008 would have been okay, but the fact that they are YouTubers and streamers now, and if they're not gonna enjoy the game, they're gonna skip it and go back to playing Fortnite, making more content. Holy craps, do we have Jack Frags in the chat?
We do.
That is
Nice.
ridiculous.
Yeah, well,
That
what
is
we're
ridiculous.
talking about, Jack, is we're talking about what could DICE
Sorry,
do.
broke my concentration.
What we're talking about, Jack, is what we're trying to do is to help them get feedback, some of the devs, on what the game could do in the next Battlefield to be more live streamer friendly, like removing your server that you're in, or putting your name as a generic name like player. You know, this player killed you, and you're generic in the map that you're playing on, to help mask the live streamers. And Flak's comments were to, you know, have better, you know, camera spectating
Or
options. And
YouTube
then,
videos, yeah.
right, and then Echo's comments are to get rid of, to try to balance some of the items that could be easily used to spam and cheese, and to take advantage of players in the game and not really play the objectives. So that's pretty much our feedback on what we want to do. And I appreciate the feedback, guys. I hope when you go to EA Play, Echo, and Flak, you talk to some of the guys that you could voice our concerns for content creators, because the next Battlefield depends on the content creators.
Yeah,
regardless.
I think it's going to be heavily influenced by, the success is going to be heavily influenced by how these content creators adapt to it. And the whole stream thing, you know, you got to be careful, not these UCAV things, because I want to finish my chain of thought, Mambo. I'm sorry. I got sidelined.
I
was over here like fangirl.
Like,
like,
whoa,
oh my God.
you know, give me some, ooh, I'm going to drink some water. You know, UCAVs is a total no-no, and in Battlefield, to me, has always had a great balance in leaning towards vehicles, and they're very cheesy against actual infantry, and you know, streamers can get cheesed on by planes. Like, you know, take that into consideration. You know, I know planes are OP as they are right now, but here's the important thing: like tanks, okay, yeah, sure, OP, a little bit powerful, right? But the plane can traverse the map from point A to point B almost instantly. The plane can find a streamer running around almost instantly. So that needs to be a little bit weaker. You know, the fact that you have barrage and you have bombs, like, it's too much. You know, like, it's too easy to find a streamer and kill them. You know what I mean? They definitely need to look into tools of hiding people's servers and stuff like that. If a streamer doesn't want to be noticed, they just want to enjoy the game, they don't want to be followed by the masses. Yeah, that could be a very frustrating thing, and I hope that they take that into consideration.
Okay.
Also,
all right, I guess we got to digress into the next topic.
All right, Flak, what would you want to bring to us this podcast?
Well, we've talked about it a little bit so far, and that really has to do with kind of premium and content release schedules and all that kind of stuff, DLC. Talking about Battlefield 2018, how that system will work. And I am personally of the opinion that whatever Battlefield 2018 is, it's not going to have premium, or it's not going to be premium as we know it. And we've talked about it quite a bit already, but Fortnite for me is, and even Rainbow Six Siege, like those two games, I think are really influencing the way that developers and publishers look at supporting their games. Like they're really going towards this this games as a service kind of thing. So looking at it, personally, I don't think the next Battlefield will have premium. I don't know if it's going to go the route of like they'll have a map every month and some other things every month. You know, if it was me doing it, I'd do it that way because it's working really well for Fortnite.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm sure they're
that's
taking notice of what's going on with that game.
And the limitations that we've seen with Battlefield 1's DLC, where, you know, it kind of just appears randomly. Like we had 6 months with no DLC after launch, basically, except for Giant Shadow.
Yeah.
And people were just so thirsty for new content. They were like, give me literally anything.
Yeah.
Like, like anything.
So like future DLC, like in my opinion, like what they want, like this goes back to the topic, what I said with, you know, like making a success out of Battlefield 2018. And this episode of the podcast is heavily discussing 2018, I know. But I think it's a perfect time to still discuss it because it hasn't been announced and they're still probably working on a lot of stuff. My hopes are, like you saying, Flak, that the DLC does increase. I really think, like I said, I think the successful in 2018, you have to have an update every week, you know. And if you want to have major updates, you have to give them, give the player base an access to it. So like maps would have to be free, you know, like that would be a welcome change. But you can employ these season pass idea. They're not bad. I like the way Fortnite does their season pass because you get a bunch of stuff as you level up and you unlock, and once you finish your season pass, you get the last skin or something. It's cool. I wish, for instance, in Fortnite's aspect, they would do a little bit more for the free things. Because like at the end, Fortnite gives you free things up to level 20, and then forget it. You have to get the season pass to get anything else. It would be nice to have like a carrot at the end of that whole tunnel.
But it's pretty much cosmetic based, the stuff.
Oh yeah, it could be. Cosmetics is totally fine. Most people agree.
We found out from Battlefront that doing things other than cosmetic can put a big rift in your popularity of your game, and you don't want that.
Yeah, I think they definitely hear the community on that aspect.
The win thing that the argument. Yeah.
So like speaking of future DLCs, like okay, so you're gonna have some paid content and all the other stuff. But I really think that making sure that there's some free way to try some stuff or free way to see some stuff. And
the thing is, like, I don't think they're going to split the community. Like, I keep saying that, partially because maybe I'm delusional, and I'm just like, if I keep saying it,
no,
they'll stop
keep
doing
it.
This,
yeah.
Right? It's like the secret. Like if you dream it, you can do it, right? So looking at it, I really think that they have learned their lesson, particularly in the last half of Battlefield's life here, you know, where people are in the servers. You got populated servers, you got variety, and all this other kind of stuff, and it's because premium trials, whatever it is active. And people are on there, they're playing the new content. Some of them maybe care about the XP and ranking up. There's not really a whole lot of impetus for them to care about that, but at least it's there, and it's providing a better experience to other people in the community. So it's something that I look at it, I'm like, I would really like to see a system that has things like maps for free and everything else is cosmetic. So like maps and weapons, whatever they do, free, but everything else is cosmetics.
So sort of like a Rainbow Six, kind of like, okay, if we come up with a premium, then they still get the maps for free, but 2 weeks later, and then they get
like, and that would be fine. You know, that gives you some exclusivity that, you know, and I think it's been shown at this juncture to work well. Otherwise, Rainbow Six Siege wouldn't be going into like year 3 of content if it didn't work. Like it's been successful in that regard, and there are a lot of people still playing Rainbow Six Siege because they get to play new stuff on a regular basis.
Right.
Like it's I just look at it, I'm like, I can't see them splitting up the community again, because that's been one of the big issues with the overall lifespan of the game.
Yeah. And then, you know, the growth of your game also hinges on just like making sure that it's accessible for free too. Just at least take a look, you know?
Well, I mean, and think about like the hype and excitement aspect about it. You know, people get way more excited if they're like, this thing is coming out and it's free? Question mark. You know, like people are going to be much more, you know, they're much more likely to embrace that and talk about that and generate hype and discussion about it if they look at it where there are no walls to them accessing it.
You know,
you're still going to make your money some way, which is why, you know, I think cosmetics are the way to go. But
the crazy thing about people is if there's hype around something and it is the thing to do, people will spend money to do it. If you remember back in the day, Nintendo Wii, people who didn't even play video games purchased a console to do it. Literally today, my girlfriend told me her sister bought a PlayStation 4 just to play Fortnite. Yeah, pretty crazy. So like I think that you know, people will spend money if you have the correct hype around the game. You know, you have a good positive community, good positive amount of content creators interested in it, and it's just a well-built service. You know, it has to be a service, not just a game and out. You know, I feel like with the DLC, what they should do is clearly tell the community what the roadmap at least is. Don't tell us everything. Keep some secrets. Keep some things. Give us a general idea of what's to come, because people want to play a game that's going to have new content coming out in some sort of way, and they want to be informed in it. Fortnite does this. They'll tell you like, hey, you know, we're creating vending machines. We're not telling you what they're doing, what's going to happen with this vending machine, but there will be vending machines, and now you have this.
How far in advance do they announce it though? They don't announce it.
No, not that much.
It just comes out of nowhere.
But that's because they're so fast.
Talking about it.
But I think a decent week before, or even or so, you know, like that kind of communication is key, you know.
Right. Or create an extra website, aka company, that releases secretly all these non-official leaks to use us as trolls. It seems to be some of this stuff is happening on Fortnite.
Do you think they're doing that
on purpose? Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Wow. Okay. Hey, it could be your strategy. I mean, if it creates like a lot of buzz around your game, I guess that's okay.
Right. It creates the forbidden knowledge that people have found out in the game's codes. Oh yeah.
Oh no. People go, what do they call that? Data mining, right?
Data mining. Yeah. You can easily label it that and create another website that somebody all of a sudden always has the correct answer of what's coming out next week. It's like, what? Come on. You got the answers to everything. There's somebody who works with you in the community there. Knows what's going on. But okay, that's a marketing strategy that could easily be done. But what do I feel needs to happen for the premium thing, Flak? I think doing away with premium, yes. Putting the items that you want people to use their in-game currency on rather than battle packs. I don't like a crate. I don't like the packs. I like a user interface, and you choose with your currency that
like a store,
like a storefront that you could spend your money on to get
like Fortnite does a store, right?
Yes.
What
I really like that idea.
I like what Rainbow does, where it is a store there. You can't do it, you know, you can go, but you can get alpha packs and just go for the fun of it. I find packs really fun. I like opening them up. I don't like getting screwed, but
I'm in that same boat there. But at that point, you look at what Battlefield's doing currently, and I've been trying to work on a video on this, but the battle packs, I'm sure you guys have seen in the battle pack store now, there are battle packs that are not RNG.
Yeah, that's very different. It's like they're trying something new out.
Yeah, and they're also available to purchase for real money. I don't know if you noticed that. But those ones that are not RNG, you can actually buy. So I'm looking at that.
Like, not RNG. What do you mean not RNG?
Like it specifically says this is what is in this pack.
Yeah,
you get this.
You can
no
look
question
at them,
mark.
right?
Oh.
And the fact that DICE is doing that, or EA, who's ever responsible, I don't know, tells me that that's something that they're looking at for the future. Like they're gauging community interest, they're gauging who's buying it, they're gauging all of this stuff. That's data for them to interpret and react to with their systems. So looking at that is telling me whatever the next Battlefield isn't going to have RNG battle packs, which I think a lot of people are going to be excited about. But at the same point, I do kind of miss it in some ways. So
I think the important thing is to offer both. You can never go wrong with choices. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
If a player has the option to choose, that is the best way to do things. Even when look at old school ways of progression. Well, like you look at Battlefield. I think what happened with Battlefield 1, people dropping Battlefield 1 is not just because of all this DLC. I mean, it's a combination of all these things. But what's important is the way the progression system was laid out is very okay, you get a bunch of kills with things, score with things, and then it wasn't even communicated right. I don't even know how you unlock weapons, like the ability to level up your kit. I think you just do things, and then you get thing at the end, the level 10. But to me, the perfect system would, as you play, no matter what kit you're playing, you earn current in-game currency. You know, call them scraps, whatever you decide. And then I would love to see that the player has the ability to choose which gun he or she wants to unlock. And then, make it. I've said this before. I really like that system where things get progressively harder to unlock based on your previous choices. So if you already unlocked one gun in the slew of assault guns, your next gun is double that, and then triple that, and whatever. So you're continuously playing. There is a grind to unlock these weapons, but at least you get the choice of unlocking which one.
That's why I like the user interface that, for instance, Fortnite is doing. Echo is because they get the choice. Do I want to spend my in-game currency on that item, this item, that item, this item, that item, and next week there's a different list of items, or every 2 days, or every 4 days.
Yeah, they freshen things up, which is definitely nice. I like the way the battle packs also.
You could go to what Flak was talking about earlier. I wanted a battle pack. Well, how about I have a skin, a camo that's listed on the stores, Battlefield stores page to buy. I'll get all my friends to go get it. Yeah,
that'd be really cool. I mean, that's one way to involve the community, like having your own battle pack. And we mentioned Jack Frags. I don't know if he's still watching. He had his own battle pack revision in the game, and that's exciting. It's really cool stuff, right? But to bring it back to the DLC discussion, just like what is the future of Battlefield? Small updates, frequent updates, and if you make a season pass, make it worthwhile. Have some sort of cool customizations built into it that are worthwhile. How do you guys feel about things that are able to purchase, coming out, like content that you're able to purchase but you can't get in game? How do you guys feel about that? There's a lot of stuff.
As long as it's cosmetic, I don't care. That's something, if somebody really wants that and they value it, they can go ahead and buy it. Titanfall 2 did that, where they had things in game where you couldn't unlock it, you had to buy it. And it bothered me absolutely not at all. In fact, I bought some of the stuff for that game because it had no season pass. It was just all the maps came out. They were free for everybody. It had its own collection of issues, but just being able to go and buy something there that, you can't get this skin unless you buy it. It felt more exclusive, and in a way that was more appealing. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as it's cosmetic.
Okay.
As long as you also have the flip side where there are things you can't buy and you have them in the you had to get 100 service stars with bayonets to get this, then then that's something you can be either proud or ashamed of, depending on who you are.
Right. I got 100 service stars with a Hell Regal. Ooh. Hey.
Yeah. Right. Champion.
That's the best gun in the game.
They give you a potato you can throw at someone and it doesn't hurt them. It's just your
just
bragging
makes
right.
Sound like, right.
Yeah.
something like that. Okay.
All right, I think we can pivot to our next topic at hand. We've discussed now what we think Battlefield 2018 would need to be successful. I mean, all these three topics kind of jam together and are interesting to talk about in its whole like
They're very
its whole-
related.
yeah, because all of these things are elements would make Battlefield successful. You know, I think premium is antiquated. I think what they can come up with, there's a lot of success out there today. Video game companies doing things really well, and Battlefield has hungry fans. Just simply love the franchise, like myself. I just love playing Battlefield game, and I like the first-person shooter experience more than like a third-person one. That's mainly why I don't gravitate towards like Fortnite. Okay, so those are our three topics. I just want to remind some people who are watching or listening to this recording, maybe you're on iTunes, maybe you're on our Flakfire's YouTube channel. Comment away on the YouTube channel. Send us an email, the Let's Talk Podcast at gmail.com. We will definitely get to them. The next segment for this podcast we're going to do is we did have one listener email. I will read it off and we will kind of give our opinion on the question. For everybody who's watching live on the Twitch channel right now, you guys can prep your questions. Maybe there are things we did not include in our discussion. We try to include you guys as best as possible where it is appropriate during our conversations. But the way that works is at crew or at any one of us, and we'll try to give you the lightning round of like a quick 3-minute or 5-minute answers tops, just so we can get through a lot of the viewer input. Okay, so the email we received, again, the Let's Talk Podcast at Gmail is the address, is from John Kitson, and it reads, so there are so many people, I'm going to kind of truncate it a little bit because it is extremely long, but basically says there are so many people wondering if Call of Duty or Battlefield is better. So John had this idea of what if EA and Activision came together and created a game of some sorts where it would be like 3 to 4 maps on a multiplayer game where there's a Call of Duty team and a Battlefield team, and they would verse one another, like a mashup of COD versus Battlefield, and just go at it and, you know, see who is better, like COD gun mechanics versus Battlefield gun mechanics all in one video game with a couple of maps, and do that. He says, I know this is a long shot and probably would never happen, but this would be really cool, and is asking us to chime in on that whole idea. Fellas, what are you thinking about John's idea about like Call of Duty to settle this argument? Listen, man, we gotta settle this. Is Call of Duty or Battlefield better? You know what? No more discussion. Grab your gun, make the game. Now we're gonna shoot at each other and see who's better. That's it. What do you guys think?
Well, the Call of Duty goes on this old Tech 2 engine, an ID Tech 2 or whatever. It plays totally different than Battlefield. So what game engine are you going to be on? What
you know what this reminds me of? I mean, if you're a fighting game kind of fan, or you've heard of it, there's like a Street Fighter versus Tekken kind of game where, you know, they mash it up, like it's, or like Marvel versus Capcom. You got these fighting game franchises doing that, where two things are kind of just mashing up against each other. That aren't normally like that, even like Super Smash Brothers, you know. So why don't we have like a Super Smash FPS? Yeah, sounds interesting. And then like start throwing in more things like Destiny, the guy from Destiny. Like you would pick an actual one character. This is crazy, John. You have a more unique idea than you know. Imagine a mashup FPS game.
Oh, this requires us to actually have any idea who some of these like campaign-oriented characters are. Which,
we'll
if
have
you talk about like
Battlefield 1.
Okay, well, I mean, and you know, hey, that's okay. That's one person, and it's like, oh, you might have like Ghost from Call of Duty, but unfortunately, with FPS games, character development and campaigns has never been.
Yeah, but the important part wouldn't be the character in this like mashup FPS game. The important part would be that they would control like their video game You know, like, so the guy who represents Battlefield will have the Battlefield controls, like you're used to, the weight, the way the soldier moves and all that other stuff. But the guy from Destiny would have a little bit more of like a jump, but the guns that are super weak and spongy, you know, because that's Destiny kind of game, you know. So like, I mean, just imagine that, like a mashup, and where you pick your heroes, and then there's a Rainbow Six guy who can't jump because he hasn't learned how to, you know. But he can bolt.
That's another one that you can throw in there. That's
we can do quite a bit. Like there's a lot of FPS games that would do this. You get the guy from Doom, okay? You get the guy from
get the guy from Metal Gear Solid, where he's just hiding in a box the whole round.
Oh, okay. Wolfenstein. You can
Strategy
get that guy.
versus energy. Young versus old, you know. It's like,
You can get the Metro.
Of course, I'd be on the young team.
Redux. I mean, I'm sorry, John. We kind of hijacked your conversation. You just meant to Call of
We're
Duty
just
versus
using
Battlefield
you now for
But
entertainment.
Now we have this whole idea of like just putting. Oh, you can get the Gears of War guy. You can get the Halo dude, Master Chief. Who else? Yo, you could make a crazy mashup game right here. But it will never happen.
Right. Otherwise, you don't have a reason to play a different game if it's not different.
Well, it would just be like a TDM kind of style, like, because there's nothing else that you can kind of set up with all these different crazy characters. Maybe they all have a special ability or something.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know, John. I mean, some people said, you know, I saw some comments in the chat were just like, oh, this is dumb. But you know what? Sometimes craziness, genius. John, you're a genius. Thanks for writing in.
Sharknado.
Sharknado, right? Greatest movie ever.
Okay.
Or what's that other movie with that one guy? You know what I'm talking about. It's called The Room.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
you haven't seen The Room? Oh, you gotta check it out. It's a very bad movie. You're killing me.
All right.
This is bad acting. All right, so John, thanks for writing in. We're gonna now shift over to the live listener question. We have a ton of people in the chat, over 100 live with us today. So at crew, at any of one of our usernames that you see while you're watching the live stream, the video feed, put those in there. For anybody else listening to this, it is not live. Hello YouTube, hello iTunes. Send those questions at it's called the Let's Talk Podcast at gmail.com. I still haven't figured out a shorter way to do this, but mouthful, but it's cool. What we do here, you know. So we're gonna pivot to our listener message, live listener section, I should say. Whew. I don't know. I'm not on the top of my ball game today, and we're gonna answer your questions. Crazy. We've been talking a lot about Battlefield 2018, but let's keep that conversation going. What do you think?
Well, there's a good comment from Kevin3447 in the chat. He says, "Crew, what do you think of the voice proximity chat PUBG?"
That's a thing in PUBG?
Apparently, I don't play PUBG, but I know that it's in Sea of Thieves, and it's super interesting to me that you can be in the proximity of somebody and actually hear them. So you know they're there, and you know that if you're trying to be stealthy, it's like, oh crap, I better not say anything.
That's fun.
You know, or if your cat is in the background screaming, you have to be like, shut up, cat, I'm in the middle of this. They're gonna know I'm here. It's kind of fun, you know.
I mean, they might think there's just
ability.
a cat, not you.
Maybe, I don't know, but
they had
like
proximity
I think that's a cool thing.
Uncharted 2 multiplayer, and it got toxic.
You got toxic? Oh, I mean, you can imagine. You know what's funny? I got a voice changer now, and if we had voice proximity, I could do some really funny stuff with that.
Yeah.
Really funny.
Right. So, yeah. Like, come out to play, guys. Come on. You know, high pitched voice, but it gets toxic in voice proximity. So.
Yeah, no, they do have it in
Oh, Flak, you cut out. Flak, you cut out a little bit.
Sorry, I remember watching Darkness 429 use it on PUBG, where he would be dead, but he'd still be spectating. and he would like go up to people, and somebody be trying to like get in the crate to get a weapon out, and he would be talking to them as a little kid, like, "Help me, I'm stuck in this crate," and the person would just spin it around in a circle looking for the source of the voice. It was pretty hilarious, but I think it's a neat thing, but at the same point, you know, Mambo has the point that it can be abused.
Well,
quite
I mean,
quickly.
at that point, you just have like some sort of a option in the game to
turn
turn
it
it
off.
off.
Right.
Okay. As a streamer, I think I would turn that off. You can just imagine how
Yeah.
many people would come in.
Yeah.
We have a question from, I believe, Ungoliant. Ungoliant says, would you be interested in seeing Battlefield go to the games as a service model? Is that like World of Warcraft you're talking about? No, you're not talking about that, right? Like, I don't want to pay a monthly fee to play Battlefield. That's crazy.
Right.
Yeah, if you're talking that route, no. But if you're talking about it where it's supported via, you know, purchases of like cosmetic things and whatnot, I'd do that. Like that'd be okay.
What is
for me.
games as a service 100%? Is it like kicking away the old DLC model and going like kind of like the whole Fortnite kind of deal? That's a games as a service pretty much, right?
I think we're in the process of like we're still figuring that out. What it
Yeah,
means.
that is
It's
that
kind
is
of
a-
changing nowadays.
Yeah, that's not a defined. You see, when you say games as a service model, it's not a defined thing, so it's hard to answer your question on Goliant. Yeah.
Mini Shot 214 says, "What can they do to improve the progression system with Battlefield 2018?" And my answer would be have a progression system.
Ouch.
No, they had a progression system. I mean, everyone wanted to unlock the Martini, and everyone wanted to get the Hellrigger. Yeah, that's it.
Keep giving us more level cap increases. Don't just stop us at 100 until the next DLC comes out. Do it like seasons.
And see, my issue with that, Mambo, is like there's no in to chase those levels. Like
Yeah, you need something at the end, right? A skin.
and
yeah.
that's part of a progression system.
Have a seasonal based progression system. So like when a season ends, you're back in the noob ranks and you gotta keep playing kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Rainbow Six does that. Fortnite does that. Where
Yep.
you get the John Wick skin.
Doesn't have to be 100% the competitive. Oh, I'm diamond level, this and that. Because how are you gonna figure all that out for Battlefield? But it could be the progression level of like a Fortnite, where at least this season I ended up at level 95, or you know what I mean? Things like that. That'd be cool for them to do as a progression system. I really think it's a good idea to let the weapon unlock progression system rest in the player's hands, that they choose which gun they want to have the experience with in Battlefield. Because the worst thing is like I purchased a game for $60, Battlefield, and I'm like, bro, I want to play the M16, you know? Like that's what I want to do. I want to get in there and shoot M16, and then realize you have to play the game for God knows how many hours just to unlock the M16 because you're level 60. You know what I mean?
On the flip side, though, Echo, you know, Battlefield 4, it's like, oh, you unlock this one sniper rifle, and then that's the only one you ever use.
Yeah, I don't
know?
think so. I think people like there are some people who will, you know, whatever. But I think people will want to complete their collection. I think there's a real big video gamers are completionists. They want to complete. They want to try new weapons. Like you'll make a video about like, oh, but did you ever try the Scar in Battlefield? And they'll just be like, no, I didn't. And you know, I have some. I have.
They didn't because they were too busy using the one weapon that was like OP compared to everything else.
You know, the question about progression,
balancing. You know,
right? And the question about progression that Echo's talking about, having, I want to get this specific item. Fortnite's doing it. Other games have done it before in creating sets of gear, like the backpack, glasses, the helmet matches the gun, matches the backpack, matches the boots.
That could be sold like the idea with the battle pack, where Flak was saying that they have this whole assault battle pack, for instance. You get the whole set. You get the helmet, you get the glasses, you get the gun camo, you get your shoes shined, everything.
Right. All right. But yeah, sets would be another nice addition to progression. Okay. I unlocked the same colored camo kneecap, knee guards and elbow guards, and patches for my jacket and helmet.
Are we gonna go full Diablo here and like you get +5 to whatever if you have the whole set?
Right.
You know what? Like if it was like minuscule, really minuscule, I wouldn't mind a little bit of RPG in my Battlefield. I actually like the perk system. Slightly tweaking your character. It's not game breaking to me as much if you do it right. Like as long as you're not doing added damage and you're not doing added armor, like added speed, added listening, added hold your breath longer, while sniping kind of thing. It could be a lot of cool little things.
That could also, telegraph the abilities of that player in some ways. You'd be like, oh, he's kitted out in this particular skin. I know he's going to be able to do this, and that's
okay.
room for skill level to grow there, I guess.
Oh, that's very interesting. So tie perks rather than tying perks to just like invisible things that you see once you get killed by the guy. You're actually tying the perks to something you can actually identify. Very interesting.
If you hear them using a certain weapon because of the sound of that weapon, you know that they're probably running this perk, right?
Okay.
I used to identify with sounds a lot more in Battlefield 4 than I do in Battlefield 1. Yeah. Like if I heard somebody shooting a specific weapon in Battlefield 4, I knew that was the SCAR and what that SCAR damage will do if I'm in a shootout with it. Will I win a shootout if I'm close quarters, long range, medium range? It's kind of like that same idea, and that's audible.
Yeah. In Battlefield 1 does that to an extent. Like one of my favorite things when I'm to hear the chatter of the Villa Perosa elite.
Oh yeah.
Sentry, and it's like because immediately who
that's
that
the Villa
is.
Perosa.
You're right. Like there's a sentry over there, and you look at your bayonet, you're like that way.
Yeah, I think there's 3 audible sounds that you could hear in Battlefield 1. That's that Villa Perosa, the Flame Trooper. You hear that, uh-oh, it's close. The Hell Regal and the Shosha. You can
Automatico too. Automatico too has that.
Yeah,
that
very
telltale.
fast. The sound design is really good in Battlefield. Yeah, there's a lot. But there could be interesting things there. I think we can pivot to another question here. We have Dale's Deadbug saying, Echo, do you agree that all the menu options, settings, sensitivities, and button mapping should be interesting at launch with the new game? Wait, what? Oh, I'm sorry. Not understanding this. Do you agree?
Statement or a question?
That all the options,
I think it's
settings,
probably saying that
sensitivities,
they should be like customized. Like you should be able to change all of that.
Well, yeah, I agree we should change. We can already change. Battlefield is the one game that lets you change more than any other game. It's unbelievable. 2018, and there are games that ship that don't even let you change a dead zone. Like, come on.
Right.
Can you change dead zone in Fortnite?
No.
Oh, come on.
Change your sensitivity. You can change how fast.
Can we please? I'm a console noob. I love my consoles. I have a gaming PC, and you can't convince me to go on it. I just don't. I just want to play my PlayStation. Now, can we please get an aim assist slider rather than on and off? A slider. If I want to be helped half the time, 70% of the time, maybe I want to just 20, just a little bit, because I'm tired. Like whatever. Like just that kind of customization is welcome.
Right. Yeah, I hate the super snap lock on auto aim stuff. That's bonkers.
When you compare games and you start switching between games like Battlefield and then you go Fortnite and you start like, oh my god, Fortnite plays itself when you're up close. You put on a shotgun, you just left L2 R2 L2 R2 and keep jumping. The game plays itself. You know what I mean? It's and people complain about L2 spam on Battlefield. In shotgun range, it's strong. But that the game.
Yeah, when I run between 2 buildings and you got a quarter of a second to hit me, but a sniper across the map headshots me as I'm going between those 2 buildings, then it's probably an auto aim feature that would hit me in the dome. You are not that good at sniping. I agree with you. The auto aim definitely needs.
I just like to see a little bit more customization there. We got OQA, and your name. I don't know. What do you guys think about including both the Pacific Theater and European Theater if the game is in World War II?
Pacific, I'd love to see some Zero planes dropping torpedoes in the water. That would be awesome. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
But-
I mean, I have no real opinion on.
Right.
I
And we
think
got
it's
the whole
something that's
Nazi issue. Yeah. So.
that's really what's the word I'm looking for? Doing something like that, doing it where and specific. That's like a massive undertaking, right? That's really ambitious. That's the word I was looking for. Ambitious.
Think that's too much in one game.
It might be. It might be something that if they do, maybe they'll do it over 2 games. When we look at what was it? Oh no, Call of Duty World at War did Pacific and European theaters too, I think. But it's like it's a lot, and it's like if you want to do it, you want to pay specific attention to each of those places, and try and do it that way. And I'm speaking from like a historical sense there, where there's tons of things to explore, and you want to take your time and do it, not just pick out the most high profile things that you can, because that's essentially what Call of Duty did. But look at things that are lesser known, and show people why maybe it's something they should know about. Like
Right.
that's
how
cool
the
from a
Japanese held the Alaskan islands in World War II or whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, I didn't even know that.
Aleutian Islands.
Weird.
Yeah. They held, that's the only U.S. land that was occupied in any war.
Wow. Interesting thing from Juki Boy. No more getting 250 kills and unlock this red dot for your gun. I hated that in Battlefield 4. Reminds me of Hardline. Had this voucher system. Pretty cool. I thought it was cool, Flak.
I like the voucher system, but you just got lost in it so quick. You were like, I don't even know what vouchers go what anymore. Like, I just got a voucher in a battle pack, but I can't use it on this because reasons. Like, it was a little convoluted for me.
Oh, it seemed to make sense to me. If you got a voucher, you could just straight up use it. You didn't have to unlock the red dot site if you had a red dot site voucher. You would go to a weapon that you're like, oh, I would love to try this gun. I don't know, MPX. But it's like you have no kills with it, so you have to go with the iron sight. Then you gotta get 300 kills to get the one you like. It's annoying.
Well, and that's kind of what I felt like War Bonds should have done, but it just wasn't an option.
Well, they also had money in Hardline, and that wasn't an option either, even though they already had in-game currency money. But they did the voucher thing. I thought that was cool for Hardline. A lot of cool stuff in Hardline.
There was weird. I'm telling you.
It's not the best.
It's a good game.
Okay.
Do we have more questions from the audience? Flak and his bayonets. People are just scoring on you, Flak. That's it, man.
Yeah, that's okay.
Danger Man says they could have merged scraps and war bonds together. Yes, they could have.
I don't know. Keeping it separate, it was not sure.
Cashing in scraps gives you more war bonds, and then use the war bonds to purchase things. Yes. You could have used war bonds to purchase battle packs. Yes.
That just sounds like you had 2 different teams working on things. They made 2 different. That's probably what happened. You know, when you have a video game, you're creating things, but you have like, the office on the left and the guys down the hall, and they're working on the same game, but they never talk. They
need to have like a Nerf battle to decide whose model wins.
Yeah.
Right. See, we have this thing in my office called whiteboards where we have to come together and collaborate.
You do?
They need to have a little whiteboard meetings where everybody comes together. This is what we're working on.
Wait, Mambo, they force you to collaborate at work?
Yes.
That is abuse, and I'm sure that's against the law. Oh wait, you live in Florida. Not much is against the law down there.
Florida man.
Shots fired. You guys are like the Wild West of America still.
Yeah. That's Texas.
Dude, they're gonna outlaw guns everywhere except Florida.
It'll be flooded after the ice caps melt, so it doesn't matter.
Oh my god. All right, guys. We have time for a few more questions. If you guys had some interesting tidbits you guys want to talk about still.
Disney Dave has a good question. He says, "What do you think would be the worst era DICE could bring in for Battlefield 2018?"
Ooh, worst. I don't think
Worst
we've ever had that.
era?
Yeah, like where's
I
the
think
era
we
setting?
talked
What?
about it earlier, Flak. We talked about going futuristic. I think going futuristic is probably the worst way to go right now, considering if you're going to be futuristic, go with a game that's more sci-fi based.
I'm gonna say actually, I'm gonna say if they went Hardline 2.
Oh wow.
If they,
Okay.
if they went
okay.
Hardline 2, because it's like super duper opinionated. Like you're gonna have a whole bunch of people
Yeah.
who are like,
Polarized.
and you're gonna have like this entire other half of the player base who are like, I'm not even gonna look at it. At least if it's future, everybody can kind of be like, I'm unsure, but they'll at least give it its due because
There's
you
a
know they
big
haven't played it,
community
they haven't seen it.
in Battlefield that they'll just write the game off. They'll be like, oh, it's dead to me. If it was Hardline 2, I think that'd be pretty bad.
Probably. Yeah.
I can't think of a worse one than these guys. I think that's sums it up very well. Interesting.
I've seen things like Battlefield Civil War. I think that would be a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Look, remember what I told you? Battlefield Civil War, it comes out, it's $20, it has 4 maps, just go have fun. It's silly. Everyone knows it's silly. So you just spawn in there and you know what you're getting. You know, and it's gonna be hilarious.
Bayonet charger.
They didn't really have
simulator.
vehicles back then, except they had what, horse chariots,
Yeah, you just get a horse-covered wagon
coach
and
wagons,
chuck wagon.
Yeah.
chuck wagons, throwing out stakes, hitting people in the head.
Would be so cool.
And you got that potato I was talking about earlier.
I would
Potato
rather, you know
launcher.
what? I would rather see the Civil War or no, not Civil War. Revolutionary War, where you have to stand in line, and if you don't stand in line, you get a penalty. Like, hey, Flak, get back in line, man. It's not your turn to fire. You know, it's like
Right. We didn't
All
tell
right,
you to
fire.
fire yet.
so
It's
funny.
It's interesting that there's Able Rebel said 80s drug war, and
oh my
like
God.
I've done a lot of thinking about this, but I'm like, you know what? If I were gonna do Battlefield Bad Company, it would be something like that. Like do number 3, do a drug war, work in like Grandmaster Flash's White Lines song as like the intro, and have that play as everybody shows up. That would be cool. Not gonna happen, but I think it would be really cool.
We
Right,
have a
like-
question from General and General Omega 12 says, can Battlefield 2018 do something similar to what Titanfall 2 did? For example, if you owned and played a certain Battlefield game, you get an award for it in Battlefield 2018. They used to do that.
Veteran? Yeah.
Veteran status. Like in Bad Company, I want to say 1, you would see like a number next to your literally in all your matches, you would see your veteran status number. Mine was like 10. It was like amazing. People were like, "Yeah, look at him."
It's interesting his comment there, because there was also some cross promotion between Titanfall 2 and Battlefield 1. I don't know if you guys remember that or not, but Titanfall 2 had this really cool Red Baron skin that you could get for your Titan, and you got it automatically if you owned Battlefield 1. And
Yeah, but nothing
that would be-
backwards. Like if you own Titanfall or something in Battlefield 1, no, right?
Yeah, true. But I'm just saying, like, I appreciated that aspect of it. Like, that was kind of neat to tie the two franchises together in a way. And it brought something unique visually to it. And again, it was customization. So, of course, we're all about that.
You know what I liked, and this is a weird thing. Like when Bad Company 2 came out, they had like a thing with Monster energy drinks, and then you got I think you got a gun or something. Like, you know, it was like a F2000 or something. It was like gun skin. I don't know what it was, but you had stuff from drinking energy drinks. I bought some. I poured them down in the toilet, and then I redeemed it. You know, I was cool.
I'll tell you what I did for Battlefield 1 when they had the same thing, except it was battle packs, right? Like, I bought them, and I'm working at college, so I just left them out, and within a day they were all.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you're such a nice guy. I bet you were really cool at the office. I don't
Another
drink
question.
anything.
We got another comment or question from Okoyef. He says, Echo Mambo Flakfire, what would be the best setting for, I guess, the next Battlefield? We talked about that in our
Yeah.
last couple of podcasts.
We get that one often.
Korea.
Yeah, Korea, I'd have to
I'm gonna
say.
say Korea.
Relevant.
Really, I think modern. And then that's a quick answer. Someone said Average Joe says Cold War. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, that's doable.
Dizzy
You got like
Dave.
proxy wars with that, but
Huh.
Yeah.
Dizzy
That's
Dave's
that's something
says-
Call of
says
Duty
about
Black
that.
Ops has already done.
This is a hot
it's
topic
like,
here as well. Dizzy Dave says, "Do you think there's any chance of Battlefield Royale game being in BF 2018?" I want to say no, because the communities. Every time you see a YouTuber kind of mention this, the community in the comments is like, no, 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 no. I think it would be a mistake if they did that. However, looking at something like Destiny, also getting not Destiny, what is that? What's that game that they're coming out with? That looks like Destiny, except it's their EA thing.
Anthem.
Anthem. There you go. Anthem getting delayed. I don't know. That game looks kind of like it would make sense for a battle
It to
royale
be a
game.
battle royale.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
it's
drop from the
possible.
sky, you know, the robots.
You know, I kind of take the approach of like a lot of times people don't always know what they want, right? You remember when Battlefield 1 was first announced, everybody was like, trench warfare, nobody wants that, blah, blah, blah. And then like when the game came out,
Yeah.
everybody was like, we want more trench warfare. Where are all the trenches? You know, like we want this stuff. So something with like a battle royale in Battlefield, I think there's a lot of people who would be dismissive of it at first, but might actually enjoy it if it was a thing. You know, and I see lots of comments on the video.
That the game engine, that the Frostbite engine's a great mechanics. It's got good bullet mechanics. It's got good effects.
It would be the
it's got
only
awesome sounds.
game that has actual bullets. Like, you know how many games don't have bullets? Battlefield, the bullet exits your gun. It is in the air. It flies. It does things. Where every other game is hit scan, you know, right? That's it.
Well,
Playing
and you
laser
also
tag.
got destructibility. You know, in Fortnite you can build it, but you know, you got some of that. But
Fortnite, you can build
a
a whole fort and have one bottom thing like this, you know, hold it up.
Yeah,
And
I've been reading the comments on videos and you know asking people what they want to see for the next game, and a lot of people are like, I'm not buying it if it's World War II, and I'm sitting there like, if it was, you would totally buy it. Like it'd be something like you'd be watching the trailer or whatever, you'd be like, I thought I didn't want that, but now I do. You know, and the same could be said if it is like 2143, a sequel. Even if it's Hardline, there are going to be people who didn't like Hardline and they're going to watch the trailer and they're going to be like, maybe.
Right.
cool. All right, guys. I think that about will close off today's podcast. Fellas,
Yep.
do you guys have any closing words before we do the whole spiel at the end? BF
Are we at the
2018.
end?
Do you think next time we sit down and have this conversation, we'll actually have some sort of idea of what's going on with Battlefield
Think we'll have the
2018?
teaser trailer.
That's a good question. Yeah, that's spicy.
Yeah, I
to
don't
think
know.
about.
I
The
mean,
next time we sit down,
we're
we might know
doing-
what it is.
Oh, whoa.
We
You
might be
think so?
talking about the teaser. Yeah, I mean, because we're doing this
April
like
8th right now.
once a
We're going
month.
to meet again in a month. Yes.
Yeah, well, we do this
May.
podcast monthly right now, guys.
EA Play is in June, about a month, 2 months from now. Will we know? I'm sure we'll see a teaser.
I mean, because
it.
they put the teaser out on May 5th, 2016 for Battlefield 1.
Yeah, but I
About
don't
May
think
5th.
they're gonna do that this time. I doubt it. I think
May and June.
they're
It was
gonna
a month
save it
before.
to EA Play.
No, they'll
I-
put the teaser out before. They got to
They
build hype for
didn't
EA
do
Play.
it for because they want you to get excited about it and go and come out to EA Play. Like they're not going to announce it at EA. It's going to be before. It's got to be
Oh.
before.
Yeah, they
Okay,
gotta
I get
promote-
you, because they
They
have
got to
to
promote
allow,
EA Play itself. They're already offering people to go there, right? To sell
and they're
tickets.
gonna have to allow like a good enough time for someone to prepare to go to EA Play.
Yeah,
Not a lot of people just
exactly.
be like, "Oh snap, I'm gonna drop what I'm doing." You gotta ask your boss for a
I
day
gotta,
off.
I
you
gotta know what the next Madden's gonna be about. Is it gonna be about football? No, this is, you know what I mean. This is gonna get some uniqueness here, right?
All right, okay. You know what? You're convincing me now. I think you guys are right that next time we sit down around, I think it's gonna be sometime. Was May? We'll probably do this podcast in like the first week of May. We've been doing a podcast every first week of whatever month comes out or whatever Sunday that lands on. I think by then we might know
When is EA Play, Echo? You're booked to go there.
June 9th, 10th, and 11th. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's look at the calendar real quick. Is that on the first week?
I don't even know. Well, let's look at the
It
calendar.
would have to be the second week.
Well, hold on.
Yeah, it's the second week. So we would have to do a podcast.
On the second, before
on
EA
the
Play.
third.
We might make. I don't know. I'd be down for 2 podcasts that month. You know, I don't know. Listen, fellas, let's have this discussion off air. All right. I don't want to make promises to people over here watching. They're like, "But Eric
You want to
said,
know a calendar?
yeah, he said, and I heard you. Here's a clip." No, I don't know. We're gonna look into things. Who knows? I'm excited to hear more about 2018 because there's so much potential and so much craziness that we can be hit with. As we said, that is probably the end of this podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening to our conversation. We each bring these topics personally to you guys because we feel passionate about them in some way, shape, or form or another. Let's see. I don't know what's funny. Did I miss something?
Mama was over there like 10th and 11th. Is that the first week? And I'm like, Mom.
No. I meant like
I'm
thinking about the podcast, like,
because
can we do it the first
mathematically.
Oh, okay.
that's what I'm thinking. But you guys took my words. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're derailing now. Well, all right. So, some closing thoughts and comments, I guess. If you're watching again, I like to kind of repeat myself on this because there's a lot of people who listen to this not live. Thanks for listening. If you're watching on iTunes, give us a rating. You can drop whatever thoughts you have about this podcast. If you want to tell us how to improve it, you can always do that too. It doesn't have to just be a question about things we talk about or a question about Battlefield. You can let us know what you think about the podcast. The email is called the Let's Talk podcast at gmail.com. It's also, if you're watching, instead of listening, there's different versions. There's an audio version and a video version. There is, however, a little thing that scrolls at the bottom, gives you guys information about all this other random stuff. Read it, take a look. We once got an email that some guy did read it. Remember that? Was wrong something about it, and it was funny. I always just wondered. I thought it was just down there and no one reads it. Thank you guys for sticking with us in this conversation, Battlefield. We all love this game. It's nice to see how many people come out because they're interested in making the game a better game for the community and everything else. All right, guys, hit them with the sign-offs, gentlemen. Flak. All right. Tell them where they can find you when you're not over here.
Right. Okay. So if you guys want to check me out on YouTube, it's youtube.com/Flakfire Gaming. Trying to put together some interesting Battlefield 2018 content. Figure I'll talk about potential trailer stuff again in a couple days. But aside from that, twitch.tv/Flakfire, and on Twitter, always got the good memes at Flakfire Gaming, so you can check that out.
The memes are fresh, ladies and gentlemen, and I can't wait for the breakdown video. Like, you know, Flak will zoom in into the pixels.
So mad if it's not a historical game, because I'm gonna be like, oh.
He's gonna zoom into pixels and look at the hat and be like, yo, this guy's hat, right? Mambo.
Yeah. Thank you for checking out the podcast with us today, guys. This was wrapping up our episode 26. I'm one of your co-hosts, Mambo_B on Twitch TV. You can check me out 6 days a week, and also get in the games with us over there on Twitch, and get put in my recap videos and be a part of the YouTube videos as well. So thank you so much for checking us out today.
Awesome. And I think you also have a Twitter, right?
Yeah, you can always get me on Twitter, Mambo_BEE on Twitter.
Awesome. And I'm your host, Echo Limits. It's spelled EKOLIMITS. I'm a twitch.tv streamer. And I'm also on Twitter with the same Twitter handle. Thank you guys for coming out. We will be doing this in a month's time, about a month's time. Stay tuned to our Twitters. It's the best way to kind of contact us. And that's the best way to keep updated. So thank you guys for watching. And let me just transition over here to the end thing. Hope you guys had a great time. See you guys next time on the podcast.